Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 and Viksit Bharat at 2047 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences, and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
The blessings of Almighty we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating World Hemophilia Day, which is commemorated every year on April 17. The day devoted to those who have hemophilia is marked to raise awareness and to help them have a better future. Hemophilia is a rare condition in which blood cannot clot properly because it lacks adequate blood clotting proteins. World Hemophilia Day is currently celebrated globally to improve diagnosis and across to specialized treatment. The goal of World Hemophilia Day is to bring the individuals with bleeding disorders from all over the world together. Hemophilia was identified in the 10th century when doctors began to take an interest in persons, particularly men, who were bleeding profusely after just minor injuries. It was known as abscesses at the time. Unfortunately, a thorough investigation into the illness was not possible due to limitations of the technology at that time. Numerous famous historical figures, particularly members of European royal families, are thought to have had hemophilia. They were treated with aspirin, which thinned and hemophilic blood even more, exacerbating the symptoms. In 1803, Dr. John Conrad Otto from Philadelphia started to investigate persons he dubbed bleeders more thoroughly, discovering it to be a genetic condition handed down from healthy mothers to boys. Eric van Wilbrand, a Finnish physician, wrote a paper in 1926 describing pseudohemophilia, a bleeding illness that affects both men and women equally. The condition was eventually named von Willebrand disease after him. Inga Marie Nilsson and colleagues at Malmö University Hospital in Sweden discovered that the disease was caused by low or insufficient levels of von Willebrand factor in 1957. Hemophilia was formally classified into two categories in 1937, A and B. Though no treatment for hemophilia has been discovered yet, one can manage the disease by regularly injecting clotting factors to minimize spontaneous bleeding episodes. The World Federation of Hemophilia established World Hemophilia Day in 1989, and April 17th was selected to commemorate the birthday of the organization's founder, Frank Scannell. The goal of the day is to promote awareness of the condition and other bleeding disease and generate funds for people who cannot afford treatment. So Dr. John Conrad Otto from Philadelphia starts to investigate persons. He refers to the bleeders more thoroughly, discovering it to be a genetic condition handed down from healthy mothers to boys. So minor cuts are typically not a big deal. If you have a severe hemophilia, the greatest worry is internal bleeding, particularly in your knees, ankles, and elbows. Internal bleeding may harm your organs and tissues and be fatal. Hemophilia is a rare bleeding illness for which there is presently no treatment. Whatever treatment is available is symptomatic. Most blood collection centers refuse donors with hemophilia due to the danger of bleeding. Other facilities refuse anybody who has previously received factor concentrate due to the risk of virus infection. Perhaps most essential, you should not give blood because you need to safeguard your veins. So share your history about how hereditary bleeding diseases have impacted you or someone you know on social media using the hashtag World Hemophilia Day and other people stories. You may also commemorate this day by visiting authentic websites like wfh.org. You may contribute money to the research this ailment or volunteer. To celebrate all persons with a bleeding disorder and promote awareness for World Hemophilia Day, turn on your red light in your house, business, or even a local landmark, and this is a way to raise awareness. Hemophilia is a genetic condition inherited from mother to child. Hemophilia C is considered less dangerous than hemophilia A and B, and people with hemophilia C don't need clotting factor IV regularly. So, because of how the illness is passed down genetically, it is highly unusual for women to be born with it and mostly affects men. Clotting factor tests, also known as factor analysis, are necessary to determine a bleeding disease and the severity of hemophilia. Hemophilia A is the most prevalent type of condition after affecting 1 in every 5,000 boys. Hemophilia B affects 1 in every 25,000 boys, and hemophilia C affects 1 in every 1 lakh boys. So lack of knowledge about the uncommon but severe ailment is causing delayed diagnosis. Lack of awareness can increase the death toll. World Hemophilia Day also helps raise funds that go into researching this condition. As a result, we can learn how to manage better. World Hemophilia Day makes it possible for people living with condition to connect. It also enables the rest of the world to show support. Today is also commemorated as World Circus Day, which is celebrated on April 17th every year. All around the world, this day is created to shine a spotlight on circus creators, performers, and artists as one of the most popular and universal forms of entertainment. Circus art is brought to the forefront to create awareness for everyone involved in the industry. This day is dedicated to emphasizing their craft, talents, and skills. It also helps them raise funds, attract audiences, and enter the zeitgeist of the entertainment scene. From veteran performance to up and coming artists, this day is dedicated to the hard work and dedication. Circus art is not as easy as it looks. It takes years of training and perseverance to achieve mastery. Today, we celebrate them and their contributions to the arts. Today is also commemorated as There's Nothing Like a Damn Day in the US on April 17th. This day was created to honor the women of the theater and films. The idea was further popularized when veteran actress Dames Eileen Atkins, Judi Dench, Joan Plowright, and Maggie Smith came together for documentary There's Nothing Like a Day. So we are here to show you how you can celebrate the day in the best way possible and tell how the term dame has changed over the years. It went from being a female ruler to something that referred to all women in the UK. A dame is a woman who has honored for her work for a long time. In the 14th century, as a title, dame was a sign of honor to women in places like the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. Dame was the feminine counterpart of sir, which was for men. The chivalric order, the Order of Ermine, was the first to recognize women. There were many notable women knights. And throughout the Middle Ages, previously the term dame referred to the wife of knight. In the 17th century, it was replaced by lady in the 20th century. The term dame referred to all women in 1932. The film Dames, a musical comedy, was released. It has many popular dance numbers like The Girl at the Ironing Board and Try to See It My Way. In 1949, South Pacific, a musical came out. It featured the song There's Nothing Like Dame, in which even sailors sang longing for women in their lives. In 2018, British theatre and television director Roger Michael made the film documentary Nothing Like a Dame Day, which started actors of Western years like Judi Dench, Joan Plowright, and Maggie Smith. The documentary shed light on these women's lives and how theatre and cinema changed over the years. In the US, the documentary went by Tea with the Dames. Today is also commemorated as Syria Independence Day in Syria, which is celebrated on April 17th as a federal day honoring the nation. Syria is a nation in Western Asia that is home to deserts, towering mountains, and lush plains. The bulk of the opposition in the nation are Syrian Arabs, along with Kurds, Turkmen, Assyrians, and other ethnic and religious groups. In addition, it is a country with many different religions, including Sunnis, Christians, and Shiites. Damascus is the country's capital and largest city, and the Arabs make up the majority of the population in terms of both religion and ethnicity. A unitary republic, Syria is divided into 14 governorates. Additionally, it belongs to UN. So Syria became a component of the Islamic Empire when the Muslim Arabs conquered it from 634 to 640 under the command of Khalid ibn al-Rashidin. Khalid's army, the Umayyad dynasty, which ruled the empire in the 7th century, relocated the capital to Damascus. The districts of Damascus, Homs, Palestine, and Jordan made up Syria during this period. The Islamic Empire grew so quickly that at its height, it spanned from Spain to parts of Central Asia, India, which helped Syria, the empire's capital, prosper economy and economically. Today is commemorated as No Limits for the Deaf Children in US, which is observed annually on May 17th, provided the right platform and encouragement. And also on April 17th, deaf kids can achieve anything. This was meant to honor, recognize hearing impaired infants across the US. Children with impairments are frequently overlooked, with their accomplishments and victories going unnoticed. A day like this paves the way to bring their struggles and strengths to the front and creates awareness about the abundance of potential in deaf kids. So, No Limits for the Deaf Children is a day to empower youngsters and remind them they can achieve anything. So, deafness is a medical condition wherein a person is unable to hear and understand speech. It has no particular date of origin and comprehends different levels of severity, each with its own characteristics. For instance, while profound deafness means that even the highest sounds might not be heard, total deafness means that no sound at all can be detected by the individual. There are millions of people worldwide who live with deafness or loss of hearing. In the United States alone, hearing impairments affected around 1 in 20 Americans. A significant chunk of this number consists of deaf children. While there are several resources available to help those with hearing impairments, there are still certain aspects of society that have room for growth in their behavior towards deaf children. There continues to exist a stigma around the loss of hearing, and those who live with it are seen as less than equal to the other members of the community. Dr. Michael Christine recognized this gap in society and its treatment of deaf children and decided to spur change. Dr. Christie created an after school program to help children with hearing loss develop communication skills, expand vocabulary and grammar, and understand character development. She recognized the lack of opportunities for children with hearing loss and helped to improve their speaking abilities in a fun and non academic setting. Having helped innumerable deaf children, enabling them to comfortably enter into the hearing world by role playing, growing creativity, and honing public speaking skills. Dr. Christie went on to extend the program to open the No Limit Center, which provides services for low income school age deaf children and their families. She has brought a significant difference in deaf children's lives and helped them realize their potential. On April 17th, every year, National No Limits for Deaf Children Day shines a light on the capability and potential that is within deaf children. They can reach the stars if they are given the right resources and chances. And the day is a way to remind everyone of that. Today is also commemorated as National Kickball Day in US on April 17th. It's time to hit the playground for some good old-fashioned ball kicking action. Kickball is widely enjoyed sport all around the globe in some parts of Canada, and the game is known as soccer baseball. While in the United Kingdom it is known as a football rounders, it has existed since the early 1900s. Originally named kick baseball, the game was used by gymnastics teachers to teach baseball kids the basics of baseball. The game is played on the field and uses three bases, a pitcher pile, and a home plate. Today is also commemorated as National Hi-Fi Day in US. Today, people everywhere use it as a mean to congratulations or great job. We are still quite nostalgic for the low five, of course, which may have originated back in 1920s. So smile, swing your arm around, smack if you have done it right. Your palm should hit the palm, providing you with a resounding thwack sound. There is nothing more fun than teaching a baby a new trick. The National Hi-Fi Day, find a baby, maybe yours or maybe another's friend baby, and teach them the art of saying hi with their hands. And teach a dog to high five. Actually, teaching a baby a trick is fun, but teaching a dog is even more fun. Find a dog and teach them to say hi with their paws. So the low five is the too low variation of high five. The rhythm starts up high, down low, and then the hand is quickly taken away. So the slapper misses, too slow. The first movie sighting was in the Principal, the 1987 film. The principal featured James Belushi as the principal snatching his hand away before Jacob Vargas can give him a low five. In 2014 movie Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, we find two apes giving the too slow version of the low five in the final scene. Some people say that the low five is cooler cousin of the high five. So today is also commemorated as National Haiku Day, which is an initiative of the Haiku Foundation, celebrates the art form every April 17th. A haiku is an ancient form of Japanese poetry that consists of 3 lines with the syllable structure 5-7-5. Although this is contested for being a Western way of teaching haiku, Japanese haikus also count sounds, not only syllables. Haiku typically revolve around nature, the passing of seasons, or ephemeral beauty, at the risk of sounding like your high school English teacher. They rely more on images than metaphors. They are also very concise due to their short length. Today is also commemorated as National Cheese Ball Day in US. Cheese ball is more than just an adjective describing the Santa sweater your aunt just Janice wears every Christmas. Without irony, cheese balls are actually in vogue again, especially during these holidays, and of course, National Cheese Ball Day on April 17th. Basic ingredients often include cheddar cheese, cream cheese, green onion, and spices, sometimes coated with chopped pickles. Mostly you can go vegetarian as well without pickles. So think of them as a kind freestanding dip with all your favorite party flavors rolled into compact package. Still can't visualize man's greatest creation and get ready to smile demurely and quit. So when you're over here, fellow revealers asking repeatedly, who bought this amazing cheese? Today is also commemorated as National Auctioneers Day on April 17. In honor of auctioneers and the practice of auctioning. It takes place on April 17th this year. The holiday is an initiative of the National Auctioneers Association and has been celebrated since 1996. The word auction is derived from the Latin word auctum, which translates to I increase. An auction is a process of conducting open market trading in which the buyers place bids over the auctioned commodity and the highest bidder takes the prize home. Conducting an auction is tough gig, which is made worse by the unserious bidders and occasional hecklers. People have strange perceptions about auctions. To the larger public, it is much like a glamorous face-off between Sarah Jessica Parker and Diane Peter in the First Wives Club, when in reality, it is a grueling process that sometimes stretches to days. National Auctioneers Day honors the men and women in the business who carry out the process and preserve the sanctity of the historic trading practice. The earliest evidence of auctions dates back to 500 BC, when the annual marriage auctions were organized by the town and bids were placed on women. Historically, livestock, artworks, and even the entire empire of Rome have been put up for auction. Throughout the Greek and Roman empires, the practice of auction gained massive prominence, although it was declined in the 18th century. Today is also commemorated as Malbec World Day in US or Dia Mundial de Malbec which is observed on every year on April 17 to commemorate the day. The first agronomy school was founded in Argentina for the study of European grapes, including the Malbec grape, which took on April 17, 1853, the same year the Argentina's president, Domingo Faustino Sarmiento, asked a French soil expert to bring a new grape varietals to his country in 2011. Wines of Argentina established April 17th as Malbec World Day. Today is also commemorated as International Pizza Cake Day, which is celebrated annually on the third Thursday in April, falls on April 17th this year. Some people probably wonder, is pizza cake a cake that looks like a pizza, or it is pizza in the shape of a cake? Well, it can be both, but the one we are here today is the latter. To celebrate, will you make a pizza cake from the scratch or just order some pizza boxes and then stack up to form a cake? The day is for you to celebrate with whatever pizza cake you see fit in your belly. So International Pizza Cake Day is celebrated annually on the third Thursday to have fun with pizza cake. Some say that pizza cake was first created many years ago by chef Francois Gunjar Max, but it seemed to be a cake that looked like a pizza, not a pizza. So meanwhile, the pizza cake here has been invented in 2014 by Boston Pizza, a Canadian-based pizza chain. The pizza cake was part of Boston Pizza promotion called Pizza Game Changers, featuring numerous outlandish pizza-related products. The pizza cake recipe became the promotion's most popular with 15,000 votes by April 21st, 2014. Boston Pizza advertised it's a great for birthdays, bar mitzvahs, weddings, and even lonely nights watching infomercials. Later in April, they posted a pizza cake recipe on So Good blog and was described as heavenly by a Reddit user who tried it. In September, Pillsbury Company posted a pizza cake recipe by Sean Cephas, and it went viral, making them sometimes mistakenly attributed as the creator of the recipe. The Boston Pizza's cake is 6-layered, and the Daily Mirror gave it a total of 5,000 calories. There were various reviews about the recipe. Some said it's more complicated than it seemed. The crispiness in the crust was lacking, and it's unhealthier than regular pizza, while others started it was worth recommending. In the end, a review is just a review. So you will never know unless you try it from the many recipes to choose from online. So you are going to make pizza cake from scratch. But as it contains a lot of fat and junk food, always avoid. But once in a year, it should be fine. Today is also commemorated as International Day of Mastering Conversations That Matter in US on April 17th. Important conversations are the reason why humanity stands where it is today. The ability to communicate is what separates from other species in the world. The advancements in medical science and technology testify to what humans are capable of. All these achievements can be traced back to an idea. All these achievements can be traced back to an idea that was shared, discussed, and debated. Important conversations have helped and build empires from scratch, and the lack of them has resulted in their fall. Not just empires, but relationships tend to break apart with poor communication. It is important for the survival of human race to constantly share ideas and bridge gaps. It is important to learn and discuss things in the past so that we have a better tomorrow. Today is also commemorated as International Bat Appreciation Day. On April 17th, it is a chance to show our flying and mostly nocturnal Friends, some love, as well as it obviously being a great exercise to binge a few Batman movies. It's also an opportunity to develop and learn the important role bats play in ecosystem and biodiversity. There are 1400 different bat species, and contrary to belief opinion, they aren't blind. So, without further ado, let's creep a little deeper into the cave and take a closer look at the International Bat Appreciation Day and everything these flying mammals have to offer. Bat Conservation International was founded in 1982 by a group of concerned scientists who recognized the importance of protecting the bats. Bats contribute towards controlling pests, create rich fertilizer for landowners, and pollinate fruit and flowers. BCI aims to conserve bats and their habitats through a combination of education, conservation, and research. Human activities such as deforestation, mining, and irresponsible tourism have caused a substantial decrease in the bats' population. Bats are often understudied and misunderstood animals. They are often perceived as disease spreaders when in reality they help keep the numbers of many pests down. So between 2014 and 18, the BCI identified 35 critically endangered species of bat that it became a priority to protect. These species are spread throughout the world, including the US, South America, and the Philippines. To help their cause and increase awareness on all the bats do for their environment, the BCI introduced International Bat Appreciation Day. As they have a role to play, and we should be grateful for their presence. Today is also commemorated as Herbalist Day on April 17th, every year to honor the herbalist and the important role they have played in our modern lives. Plants and herbs have been used to help humans since the dawn of time. The many benefits of plants that we have thus unlocked, from their medicinal uses and healing properties to nutrition, are primarily the contribution of herbalists everywhere. So, on this day, we recognize the vital role and contributions of herbalists. Herbalist is the study of plants and herbs, usually for medicinal purposes. Throughout the history, herbalists were mainly focused on studying plants and selling solutions and plants to be used as their healing properties. As much as this field of the study developed during the last few decades, herbalists are now able to prepare medicinal plants in a variety of ways and sell them in pharmacies or online herbal stores. Although the practice dates back to the lives of early humans, the profession of an herbalist became a specialty during the medieval period. This profession saw particular growth during the 12th century. As of 17th and 18th centuries, several universities across the Europe had specialized courses and degrees for the herbalists, and several institutions dedicated to this profession. Herbalists are still recognized in many countries through there are far fewer specialized university courses on the subject. The study of the herbs became more specialized in the late 20th century, becoming a part of the pharmacy and medicine. Even though herbalism is now part of several scientific disciplines, there are still courses devoted to it. Today, practice of herbalist is still very common as we constantly rely on the herbs for several purposes. The difference, however, is that the profession is significantly different from what it has was several centuries ago. In recent years, several initiatives and cooperative programs have been organized in several countries to renew herbalism. Today is also commemorated as College Student Grief Awareness Day in US, which is celebrated on April 17th. Every year, the third Thursday of April is set aside as the National Awareness Day, created to recognize college students, their struggles, and the toll it takes on their mental health. According to statistics, at least 1 in 5 US college students suffer from a grief of depression, considering the constant pressure they face. This day raises awareness of that encourages conversation on ways to improve the situation. So psychological issues and pathologies have always been well understood. Although depressive disorders were very well documented Nowadays, college student grief is generally considered a recent development with several distinctions identified. The earlier mention of depression as we understand it today can be traced back to the mid-19th century. French psychiatrist Louis Lassuil is by far one of the more earliest scholars to study depression as a psychiatric symptom. Throughout the 20th century, the classification of psychological disorders and symptoms of constant development, evolving into several subclasses. Later on, depression among youths and adolescents started gaining the interest of academics and researchers. Students, in particular, suffered the most, considering the pressure of all academics and, in some cases, persons in grief. As of the late 90s and early 2000s, depression and grief among university students became a more documented issue. Recent studies show that 44% of the university students in America suffer grief related issues, particularly depression. This has inspired many initiatives on the issue. The Actively Moving Forward AMF group began as a student in 2004. Ongoing support groups for college students to help them cope up with personal grief and depression. The group has helped over 2,000 students across several universities in the United States. AMF created College Student Grief Awareness Day in 2015 to get the people talking about the issue. Today is also commemorated as Celebrate Teen Literature Day in US, which is observed every Thursday of the second complete week in April 19th, and this year it will be marked on April 17th. It is a day to remind everyone, especially teens, to read. As everyone knows, teenagers are reading less and less with the high-tech smartphone and social network usage among teens. It is no surprise that their attention is off books. This has been the trend for a while. Celebrate Teen Literature Day promotes the love of reading and raises awareness about the shrinking number of teens who read for pleasure. Today is also commemorated as Blah 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 Day in US, which is celebrated every April 17th to encourage you to listen to those nagging words from your loved ones or friends and action them. It's also time to start accomplishing what you set as New Year's resolution. The word blah was first used in 1918, remember, in relation to gossiping and talking about meaningless topics. Dictionary.com defines blah 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 as meaningless chatter, idle gossip. Blah 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 is also used when you are uninterested in what someone is saying, to feel the other person is nagging. So conversations are interactive communication between two or more people. Humans have been having conversations since the dawn of time, and it has been a critical aspect of how we shape the world around us. Through conversations, we shared ideas, learned, and worked toward the development of human civilization. According to historians, the phrase blah 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 is believed to have originated in ancient Greece from bar bar bar. This phrase was derived from the sounds made by barbarians, and they were considered to be meaningless noises over the millennia. This sound morphed into phrases such as yada 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 and blah blah blah. So aside from being used to refer meaningless noises, blab became a term for revealing a secret. That's why we say don't blab. Blab was the first blab was first used in writing by Howard Vincent O'Brien, an American journalist. He used it in 1918 memoir, Wine, Women and War. He pulled old blah about service. Then in 1921, the National Weekly used a double blah in their magazine. Blah is thought to have evolved from blah blah blah, which was commonly used in the 19th century books. In post-World War II, the use of blah, blah, blah increased according to Google's Ngram Viewer, and it increased a 50-fold between 1960 and 2000. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us on this day. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form before leaving the platform. So see you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link. Take care. Good night.